they talk to their managers, to their CEOs, to CTOs, and they want to know, what is this about? How can we use it? Should we be afraid of it? And I say yes. You should. And 96% of the companies, they have this on the top. When their board meets, this is the top part of the agenda. So everybody's talking about generative AI. And if you don't have a strategy around this, then you're in all sorts of trouble. This here is what we call the Gartner hype cycle. The Gartner hype cycle is the Gartner hype cycle was developed by our competitions, the Gartner. They also do management consulting just like we. It's a little bit fun to show this because it shows how a technology, typically, when it gets a new technology, people are very excited about that. And everybody thinks that this new technology, that will solve all our problems. So forget about that metaverse thing. Generative AI, that will solve. But what happens is that you see this curve, and on the top of the curve is the height of expectations. That's where everybody's talking about it. But then it falls down into the trough of disillusion. So this is where we understand that, okay, this tech was really cool, but it doesn't solve all our problems, unfortunately. And then eventually, after a while, after a couple of years, it gets on, it reaches what we call the plateau of productivity. And that's actually where we start using it. And if you look at the top here, oh, great, does it work? Okay, that's good. All right. So we have generative AI on the top, the peak of expectations. I don't think anyone would argue about that. It's basically that. But, and this is fun, they also say, indicate that this will reach the plateau of productivity in 5 to 7 years. And I think no one really thinks that. Actually, just a couple of weeks ago, Microsoft decided to put this kind of functionality into their Office suite. It doesn't get more commoditized than that. So what we're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, it is the breaking of a curve. Generative AI doesn't follow the rules of yesterday or this rather takes. And now this is interesting because I think this has to do because this helps us to interact. We like to think that this helps us to interact with human knowledge in a new way. So actually we have the alphabet, we have the printing press, right? We have the internet. 3 major innovations when it comes to spreading and interacting with human knowledge. Now we have generative AI. It's a new way of interacting with knowledge. And people love it. But this is a study we did. This is one of the really good perks about working in a company that's huge. We have our own research institute, and they've asked people, 800 people, 8,000 people, would you think that's a good idea to take medical advice from the AI? 67% at least up in Scandinavia thinks that's a brilliant idea. Let's do that. Now, I think that might have to do because people don't really understand what it's all about. Because these generative AIs, they're really, really good at generating content, but they don't have a clue about the knowledge behind it. So this is very good. This is very important to understand. Let's think of it more like this is a new way of internet. So this is new interface. Just like when we got Windows many years ago, I was around back in those days. Or when we got the mouse. So it's just new ways of interacting with the machines. And this is, alright, let's see if this works. Just to make a good example. It's not very smooth. Okay. Are you recognize the guy to the right? I guess that's me. Before I cut my hair. Okay, so that's the brain out, or a circuit board, and then we put generative AI into his head instead. And now this robot can interact just like a human. So you can talk to this, you can speak with them, and actually we are trying to do this together with an organization in Sweden that works with the mental health of children and youth. Because they see that they don't reach the children. The children don't want to talk about anxiety, stress with the adults. However, they're super happy to talk to robots about it. Now, there are some ethical issues here, of course, that we need to handle. But this shows that we have a new way of interacting with machines. And this is super interesting. In this case, we use him as an office intern. He's great at that. He greets our customers also, shows them where the toilet is. Oh. So, perhaps even more, everybody knows about this. So, the Google are doing the med poll using generative AI, and this will help healthcare staff to empower them to make easier, faster, quicker, and better decisions. In this case here, it's analyzing X-rays, but it's not only doing that because we've been able to do that for 10 years. It's also generalizing around this. It's trying to take in a bigger picture about the patient. This is also, of course, still on a prototype state because there are problems with the reliability of the system. But it's super duper inspiring. Right? Just a quick one here. What is AI? Well, actually, what's generative AI? So AI has been around for 70 years. It's about mimicking human intelligence using a machine. That's a pretty broad term. And within AI, you have something called machine learning, and that's actually the art of making machines learn from fuzzy data. Data that's a little bit unstructured, that looks a little bit weird, and trying to find patterns by itself. So we don't have to tell the computer. So deep learning is actually that we're trying to use the same technique that the brain uses in order to understand the information. So there's a lot of, we call it deep neural networks. Millions of small connections trying to understand what things is going on. We call it deep learning. It's super weird, nobody really knows how it works. Then, using all these techniques, we have the generative AI that is exactly what it says. It's able of generating content, and it does that extremely well. And this is a short history of AI. Let's skip that quickly. And I told you, we have never seen anything move quite this fast. It's breaking the hype, hype cycle and everything. And million users in 1 week. 100 million users went in. Oops, we need to cook it up a little bit. So let's go into, yes. And this here is soon, hopefully. Where are we? Use this for. Of course, we can use this to access information, but we can also use this to generate not only code, but we can generate the person. So what we have here is she's not real, we call her Eva Maria, and she's helping me here to book a ticket on the train service. And of course, this is what a lot of companies want to do right now, because they see, perfect, we can put this, instead of our customer support. She works 24/7, she talks 12 languages, she's always happy, she knows everything about her product. And then we thought, alright, so let's make this a little bit more interesting. This here is Elena, she's sort of a clone on that. And I created her.
I appreciate you want to use it. Let's check your LDL and HDL levels.
It takes a little while for it to fade.
LDL, or low-density lipoproteins, has often caused bad cholesterol. High levels can lead to...
Alright, yeah, it's good. So she knows a lot about me, but she also knows about, cholesterol levels, and she helps me pick up packages, and she's right there in my phone. Of course, you need the internet connection, you need to have an infrastructure that we talk about, but it's truly you'll see much more of this. The other thing that I think is very, very interesting, what you see here is actually proteins being created. So creating proteins, human proteins, is a pretty time-consuming work because they are very, very, very complex. But using these machines, we can create proteins on the fly, and then we can test them. Or can we use these for medication and so on. So this is totally revolutionizing drug design and drug development. Let's just super quickly go. Yes, just a very, very short note on this. So what does this mean for Tanzania, and what does this mean for low and middle income countries in Africa? Well, the interesting thing that we talk about disruptive innovation, it typically comes from below. It comes as a cheaper service with less features, it looks a bit interesting, and the big companies and the big actors that are already owning the market, they don't see this coming. We have seen this so many times. So what we can see here is if we can if we can apply this thinking, this technology, in order to innovate new services here in Tanzania that are lightweight, that are easy to use, and don't use that much tech, then we can bypass the big companies and the big countries up in Europe, because they have all the legacy code, they have the legacy thinking, they have old traditions that they need to cover. So you guys are definitely, you have the potential to move much, much faster and actually disrupt the way that we handle healthcare. Okay, thank you so much. I think I need to stop there.
Thank you very much, Johan. Thank you very much, Johan. I'm sure the kids are laughing. They want to have their own personal teacher. Isn't my little kids? They look like they are laughing that you can have your personalness. I think they are thinking, can we have our own teachers at home? I mean the artificial intelligence from the nurses. So thank you very much, Joan, for sharing it with us, but for showing where the world is going to. That we used to have personal nurses, personal doctors at home. Now maybe we are going to have our personal doctors and nurses and lawyers like me in our phones and app, having that fast. Now we are going to the next panel discussion. Where is your man?
Perhaps we take Q&A, maybe Q&A for Joan? Questions?
Yes, because of our time. Huh?
Yeah.
Is there any question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eu acho. Yes, thank you for the nice presentation. As a doctor, I appreciate for the innovation. Two questions. The first one from the DNA, you are manufacturing, trying to make the proteins, and that can help well from the medication and other things in the human. But my concern is, have you tried to see if it cannot impact with malignance in the human body? Because always invasion has a chance of...
Yes, but a very, very important question. We have to say in Sweden that, do you know Pippi Longström? If you're very strong, you need to be very kind. And this is a very, very powerful tool, and you need to be sure that it also is kind. So that means that everything that I'm showing now, everything that we are doing, we are putting a lot of safety onto that. There are many ethical questions, there are many security questions, reliability questions. So still, we use this as a tool to empower people. But it always needs to be the people in the room that signing off, that takes the responsibility. But this is a very important question. Thank you.
The robotic part of innovation, are you thinking maybe to have a prototype in Tanzania? Because like robotic surgeons, we have few surgeons, like where I'm working in the peripheral. I think is an area we can see if we can collaborate in doing the robotic.
I would love to do that. We feel that we are doing a little bit of task shifting also in Sweden, where nurses get to do a little bit of the work that otherwise doctors would be doing.